Hey everyone, welcome back to another thought-provoking discussion about technology and artificial intelligence. We're continuing our journey through the insights from Dr. Alok Aggarwal's landmark book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution and 100 Years of AI.
In our last episode, we took a deep dive into the fascinating world of CRISPR gene editing. We explored how AI is enhancing this revolutionary technology, discovered its real-world applications, and uncovered how artificial intelligence is helping us understand the complex world of protein folding.
Today we'll delve into something pretty incredible: AI's ability to discover new molecules.
And we'll also be touching on how this ties into drug discovery.
Oh yeah, and even something called precision medicine. But that'll be a little later. First, let's imagine needing to find a cure for cancer or a greener alternative to cement. You know, something like that. And having to sift through literally millions of compounds to do it.
It's a problem that scientists face all the time, across so many different fields. From medicine and material science to construction and even electronics. It's like searching for a needle, but instead of a haystack, it's a haystack the size of a planet.
It's really mind-boggling to think about. And our source, The Fourth Industrial Revolution and 100 Years of AI, tells us about something called the Materials Genome Initiative, or MGI. Can you break that down for us?
Well, think of it like a giant database for materials. So instead of books, it holds data on thousands and thousands of compounds. And that data includes things like their melting point, their crystal structure, even instructions on how to actually synthesize them in a lab.
So it's like a recipe book for molecules.
Kind of. Yeah, and the best part is, it lets researchers share their discoveries.
So they don't have to keep reinventing the wheel.
Exactly. They can avoid repeating experiments that have already been done, which saves a ton of time and resources.
So this MGI, it's not just a giant database. It's actually helping speed up the whole discovery process.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where AI comes in. Our source also talks about Cameo, which is an AI platform that learns from all this data. Think of it like this. Cameo studies a smaller set of compounds, and it learns the relationships between their structure and their properties. Kind of like how we learn the alphabet and then grammar to understand language.
So it's like Cameo is learning the molecular alphabet.
Exactly. And once it's learned enough, it can actually predict the properties of completely new materials.
Wait, so you're saying it can figure out how a material will behave before we even create it?
Yeah, pretty much imagine being able to know if a material will be strong, flexible, conductive, all that, just by looking at its digital blueprint.
That's incredible. So instead of endless trial and error in the lab, scientists can use AI to pinpoint the most promising candidates.
Precisely. It's like having a GPS guiding you to the exact molecule you need.
I like that analogy. A molecular GPS.
Right? And here's the really cool part. As scientists conduct new experiments, they feed that data back into Cameo, which makes it even smarter over time. It's a constant learning cycle.
So it's not a one-and-done deal. It keeps getting better as it learns.
You got it. It's a dynamic system, always evolving and refining its predictions.
And it's actually working? Like, are there real-world examples of this?
Oh yeah, there are some pretty impressive results already.
I'm hooked. Tell me more. What are some of the success stories?
Well, one fascinating example is the discovery of a new alloy.
An alloy?
Yeah, and it had to have very specific properties for something called optical contrast.
Optical contrast. I'm not familiar with that.
It's a bit technical, but basically they needed a material that could interact with light in a very particular way.
Okay, I see.
Now, normally scientists would have to test thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of potential alloys to find the right one.
Wow, that sounds incredibly time-consuming.
Oh, it is, and expensive too.
So how did the Cameo help?
Well, using Cameo, they were able to narrow down the search to just 177 potential candidates.
177 out of thousands. That's a huge reduction.
Right? It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
So they went from a haystack to like a small pile of hay.
Something like that. And the amazing thing is, they actually found the perfect alloy among those 177.
No way. So they actually found what they were looking for.
They did. And it gets even better. The alloy they discovered actually had some additional properties that they weren't even expecting.
Like bonus features.
Exactly. It was a happy accident.
That's incredible. It really shows how AI can accelerate the discovery process.
Oh, absolutely. It's like having a super-powered research assistant.
Okay, so we've got one great example. What other success stories are out there?
Well, another exciting example involves the conversion of carbon dioxide into ethylene.
So we're talking about turning a harmful greenhouse gas into something useful.
Exactly. Ethylene is a valuable chemical used in making plastics and other products. The challenge was finding a cheaper and more efficient catalyst for this conversion.
A catalyst?
Yeah, it's a substance that speeds up a chemical reaction. So Cameo stepped in and helped researchers narrow down the search from 244 possible alloys to just 17.
17? Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Right? It's another example of how AI can streamline the discovery process and make it much more efficient.
Yeah, I'm sensing a trend here. AI is all about making science faster and more efficient.
Absolutely, and it's not just limited to these two examples. Another fascinating application involves something called megalibraries.
Megalibraries, what are those?
These are huge databases of nanostructures with millions upon millions of potential molecules.
It's like having an entire universe of molecules at your fingertips.
That's a great way to put it. In this case, researchers were looking for molecules that could be relevant to clean energy. And get this, Cameo was able to identify 19 potential candidates out of that vast database.
19 needles in a haystack the size of a galaxy. Did it work?
Well, out of those 19 predictions, 18 turned out to be accurate.
Wow, that's an incredible success rate.
It really demonstrates the power and precision of AI in molecular discovery.
It's mind-blowing to think about the time and effort this technology can save. Instead of endless experiments, we now have this targeted approach.
Exactly. And what's even more exciting is that we're just scratching the surface of what AI can do. It's constantly evolving and getting more and more sophisticated.
Absolutely. AI is also shaking up the world of medicine and how we find new drugs and treatments.
Yeah, it's fascinating how AI is being used to address one of the biggest challenges in medicine.
What's that?
Well, just the time it takes.
Oh yeah, and money to develop new drugs.
Exactly. We're talking about a decade of research at least, and over $1 billion per drug. It's a massive hurdle to overcome.
No wonder researchers are looking for faster and more efficient methods. And AI seems to be emerging as a real game changer.
It's like having, a super-powered research assistant.
Yeah, like crunching all this data.
Seeing patterns that humans would miss.
And, from what I was reading, AI seems to be particularly suited for working with these small molecule drugs, which is where a lot of the data already exists.
Exactly. So it's not just about speed, it's about, being smarter in how you discover the drug and accelerate the entire process.
Okay, so Dr. Aggarwal breaks down several key areas where AI is making a real impact, and one that really caught my eye was protein structure prediction. And, proteins are these complex molecules that are essential for, basically every biological process. And how they fold determines their function, which is, really important for understanding and treating diseases.
Predicting how proteins fold has been a major challenge for scientists. But now we have AI tools like AlphaFold 2 that can predict this with incredible accuracy, which allows us to design drugs that can target specific proteins that are involved in causing the diseases.
It's like having a custom-designed key to fit a specific lock, except the lock is the disease-causing protein. So I was reading that AlphaFold 2 is already being used to find compounds that can neutralize these proteins. I thought what was really interesting is that it can predict the structure of proteins even if we don't have any experimental data.
Because we don't always have that experimental data. So it really opens up a whole world of possibilities.
That's wild.
Yeah, and another area where AI is making waves is something called de novo drug design. So it's basically creating new drugs from scratch. And this has traditionally involved a lot of trial and error, but AI is really helping to make this process a lot more efficient.
So instead of randomly testing thousands of compounds, researchers can use AI to focus on just the ones that are most likely to be effective. That's a huge time saver. What kind of AI are we talking about here?
Well, there are several different types of AI algorithms. For example, generative models can create new molecular structures that have the properties that we want. And then you can also use things like reinforcement learning algorithms that can sort of optimize these structures based on how they interact with their biological targets.
So it sounds super complicated.
Yeah, it can get pretty complex.
The book also mentioned these AI expert systems and something called knowledge ops. What are those?
Okay, so think of an AI expert system as a way to capture the knowledge of a human expert in drug discovery, and they can analyze vast amounts of data and provide insights that mimic a seasoned scientist. And then knowledge ops is kind of like a framework for managing and sharing that knowledge to make sure that everyone involved in the drug development process has access to the latest insights.
So it's like having this team of virtual experts working alongside the researchers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really powerful stuff.
But before we get too deep into the technical details, let's talk about another application the source highlights: drug repurposing. And that sounds a lot more cost-effective than starting from scratch.
It is. Drug repurposing is all about finding new uses for existing drugs. And since these drugs have already been proven safe in humans, repurposing them can save a lot of time and money because you don't have to go through all the early phases of drug development.
The book actually gives a really cool example of how AI was used to analyze existing drugs and identify 13 that showed potential for fighting other viral diseases. It's like finding hidden treasure in your own backyard. AI can spot these connections of patterns that humans might miss.
Absolutely. It's a very powerful tool for drug repurposing.
That leads us to another important area where AI is making a difference:
Okay, what's that?
polypharmacology. I had to look that one up.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
It's basically about understanding how a drug interacts with different tissues in the body. It seems like that could get pretty complicated. So like a drug might be designed to target a specific protein or pathway, but it can also interact with other tissues and cause these unintended effects.
Exactly.
So polypharmacology is all about mapping those interactions to make drugs safer and effective. And AI is playing a big role in this by helping researchers understand this complex web of interactions that happens when a drug enters the body.
Yeah, it's like a whole cascade of effects that we need to understand.
So it's like AI is giving us this much more detailed map of how drugs interact with the entire body, not just the intended target. It's huge for drug development.
It changes everything.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it really does.
And that brings us to another crucial area, where AI is having a major impact in predicting toxicity. So traditionally, testing for toxicity involved a lot of cell and animal studies, which are time-consuming and, ethically challenging. But AI is offering this powerful alternative. The source mentions this AI model called DeepTox, which can actually predict the toxicity of a molecule just by analyzing its chemical structure. It seems like AI is making a difference in every single stage of drug discovery.
It really is, and we haven't even scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
Absolutely. It really is like a multi-tool that's, reshaping the entire drug discovery process. And DeepTox is a great example of how AI can help us move away from these, traditional time-consuming methods. It analyzes thousands of chemical features to determine whether a compound is likely to be toxic or not. So this kind of predictive power not only speeds up research, but also reduces our reliance on animal testing.
Right? Which is, great on both ends.
Absolutely.
So I'm also curious about the book mentioning predicting a drug's physicochemical properties, things like solubility and permeability. Why are those important?
Well, those properties are crucial for determining how effectively a drug can be absorbed and reach its target in the body. So you can imagine that a drug that's designed to treat a brain tumor but can't cross the blood-brain barrier wouldn't be very effective.
Yeah, it's like having a delivery truck that can't reach its destination. The book mentioned a study where AI models were able to accurately predict the intestinal absorptivity of almost 500 compounds, which is pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
It seems like AI is taking on the role of a virtual pharmacist, predicting how a drug will behave in the body. It really highlights how AI can take this complex data and pull out these meaningful insights to guide the whole process.
Absolutely. But we've only just begun to explore the power of AI in drug development.
What else is there?
Well, there's another crucial area where AI is playing a transformative role: clinical trials.
Right. Clinical trials, where these potential drugs are tested on human volunteers to determine their safety and effectiveness, which is obviously like a super critical step, but can also be super lengthy and expensive. So I'm curious how AI is changing the game here.
AI is being used to create a more comprehensive and personalized approach to clinical trials. So imagine if you could combine data from a patient's medical records, genomic information, lifestyle data, and even previous clinical trial data.
That's a lot of data, and AI can integrate all this information to create this remarkably detailed profile of each patient.
It's like this 360-degree view of each patient.
That's a great way to put it. All aspects of their health and history.
So how does this then impact the actual clinical trial process?
Well, it allows for better matching of patients to specific trials. So by understanding each patient on a deeper level, researchers can ensure that they are enrolled in the most appropriate trials for their condition and genetic profile. And this improves the efficiency and quality of the research because the right patients are receiving the right treatments.
So it's like AI is playing matchmaker,
Yeah, kind of.
finding the perfect fit between the patient and the clinical trial.
That's a good way to think about it.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
What's that?
It seems like AI is not just speeding up this whole drug discovery process, it's also making it more personalized and patient-centric.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, AI is really helping us move away from this one-size-fits-all approach to medicine and develop treatments that are tailored to individual patients, and we're really just at the beginning of what's possible.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of people, when they think of AI in medicine, think of robots, like doing surgery.
Right?
But this is already way beyond that.
Oh yeah,
It's changing how we discover drugs, how we personalize treatment.
it really is. And one of the things that just blows my mind is the way AI is being used across all these different stages of medicine. The fourth industrial revolution and 100 years of AI lays out some incredible examples of AI already changing the game. Did you know AI can predict a person's brain age just by analyzing MRI images with over 99% accuracy?
Hold on. 99%, that's insane.
It's wild. What does that even mean?
Well, basically, AI can pick up on these subtle patterns in brain scans that humans might miss, and that gives doctors a more accurate picture of brain health.
So you're saying AI can actually see things that human doctors can't?
Yeah, it's wild.
So think early diagnosis of Alzheimer's, or even predicting how someone might respond to certain treatments.
So that's where it gets really interesting to me. I always hear about AI being used for drug discovery, but I feel like I never really understood how it works.
Yeah,
Can you break that down?
of course. So traditionally, finding new drugs took forever. It was super expensive, and a lot of times you ended up with nothing.
Right.
AI is totally changing that. It uses its analytical power to speed up the process and increase the odds of success.
So instead of scientists manually testing thousands of compounds in a lab, AI can basically pre-screen them and identify the most promising candidates.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a giant library with millions of books. You're looking for one specific book.
Right.
AI is like a super librarian who can scan the entire library in seconds and point you to the exact book you need. So in this case, the library is a vast database of molecules, and the book is a potential drug.
Oh, that's a really good analogy. But then how does AI actually design a drug? Is it some kind of digital chemist mixing chemicals on the screen?
Well, it's not quite that literal, but it's not too far off either.
Okay.
One way AI designs drugs is by analyzing the 3D structure of a target protein in the body. So this target could be a virus, a bacteria, even a specific protein involved in a disease. And AI can identify molecules that fit perfectly into that target protein, like a key in a lock. And that's how drugs work, by interacting with specific targets to produce a therapeutic effect.
So AI is basically playing a high-tech game of molecular Tetris, figuring out which shapes fit best.
And what's even cooler is AI can predict how these potential drugs will behave in the body.
Whoa.
Like, will they be absorbed properly? Will they be toxic? How long will they last in the bloodstream?
It can do all that.
It's really revolutionizing drug development.
It's pretty mind-boggling to think we can simulate all of that on a computer.
I know.
This is like a far cry from the old trial-and-error methods of drug discovery.
Yeah, totally.
So let's shift gears a bit and talk about this other game changer. We mentioned personalized medicine. I've heard this term thrown around a lot, but I'm not sure I fully grasp what it entails. Can you help me understand how AI is making personalized medicine a reality?
Yeah, so personalized medicine is all about tailoring treatments to an individual's unique genetic and biological makeup.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're not all cookie-cutter copies, and that the same treatment won't work the same way for everyone. And I think AI plays a key role in this by analyzing vast amounts of data, our genes, our medical history, even our lifestyle choices, to create a personalized health profile.
So it's like having a digital twin that doctors can use to predict how you might respond to different treatments.
That's a great way to put it. And this kind of individualized approach can help doctors make more informed decisions about which treatments are most likely to be effective and which ones might be risky.
For a particular patient.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. Are there any real-world examples of AI being used in personalized medicine right now? Or is this still mostly theoretical?
Oh, it's definitely happening. One fascinating example from our source material is how AI is being used to tailor treatments for medulloblastoma, a common childhood brain tumor.
By analyzing a patient's specific genetic data, AI can help determine the most effective treatment and dosage, leading to better outcomes and fewer side effects.
So, we're talking about AI potentially saving lives here. This is powerful stuff, but I have to imagine there are still some limitations to using AI in personalized medicine. Is it really ready for prime time, or are we still years away from seeing its full potential?
It's true that we're still in the early stages, and there are definitely challenges to overcome. One of the biggest hurdles is the lack of comprehensive data on individuals. AI systems thrive on data. The more data they have, the better their predictions. But right now, detailed long-term information on individuals is often limited. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces.
I see. So even though we're generating more data than ever before, we still need more robust and comprehensive data sets to really unlock the full potential of AI in personalized medicine.
Exactly. And another critical challenge is the need for rigorous testing and validation of these AI systems. We can't just throw them into the medical field without making sure they're safe, reliable, and effective.
That makes sense. We can't just rely on AI's predictions without making sure they're accurate and backed by solid evidence.
Absolutely. There's a lot at stake when it comes to people's health. So we need to be extremely cautious and thorough in our approach to using AI in medicine.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of AI in medicine so far. We've covered a lot of ground, from the mind-blowing potential of AI in drug discovery to the exciting possibilities of personalized medicine. But it's clear that there are also challenges to overcome.
There are. But even with those challenges, the potential benefits of AI in medicine are so significant that it really begs the question, what does the future hold?
Yeah, what are some of the areas you think AI will have the biggest impact in the future?
One area that has immense potential is preventative medicine.
Imagine a world where AI could analyze your individual risk factors and recommend personalized strategies to prevent diseases before they even develop.
So instead of just treating diseases after they occur, we could actually prevent them from happening in the first place. That sounds like a game changer.
It really could be. AI could analyze your genetic predispositions, your lifestyle choices, your environment, and a whole host of other factors to create a personalized prevention plan.
So it could be anything from recommending specific dietary changes to even suggesting an exercise routine tailored to my body and my genes. So AI could be like a personal health coach, helping you make healthier choices before any problems even arise.
I like that analogy.
That's pretty cool.
It's about empowering people to take control of their health and make proactive decisions based on solid data.
That makes a lot of sense. What other areas are you excited about?
Another area where AI is poised to make a huge impact is robotic surgery. Imagine AI-powered surgical robots that can assist surgeons with greater precision and dexterity than ever before.
So we're talking about robots that can actually perform surgeries, like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It's not quite like the movies just yet, but we're getting there. These robots would work in collaboration with human surgeons, providing them with tools and assistance that can make surgeries less invasive, faster, and safer.
But what about the human element in all of this? Are we going to see AI replacing doctors altogether?
That's a question that comes up a lot, and it's understandable to have those concerns.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool, not a replacement for human expertise.
Oh, yeah.
AI can assist doctors in making better diagnoses, developing more effective treatment plans, and even performing surgeries with greater precision. But ultimately, it's the human doctor who brings compassion, empathy, and critical thinking to the patient-doctor relationship.
So it's more about AI and doctors working together as a team rather than one replacing the other.
Exactly. AI can augment human capabilities and free up doctors to focus on the aspects of medicine that require uniquely human skills, like building relationships with patients, understanding their individual needs, and making complex decisions that take into account not just data, but also ethics and human values.
So AI can handle the data crunching and the technical aspects, while doctors can focus on the human side of medicine.
Precisely. And I think that's where the real magic will happen, in the collaboration between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. By combining the strengths of both, we can create a future of healthcare that is more personalized, more preventative, and ultimately more human.
I like the idea of a more human healthcare system powered by AI. This has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of AI in medicine.
It has.
We've learned about its potential to accelerate drug discovery, personalized treatments, and even the discovery of new molecules.
Yeah, incredible possibility.
But we've also acknowledged the challenges.
Of course.
Like ensuring data privacy, validating the accuracy of AI systems, and maintaining that essential human element in healthcare.
Absolutely. It's a complex landscape full of both promise and potential pitfalls. But I'm optimistic about the future. With careful consideration and a commitment to ethical development, AI can truly revolutionize medicine for the better.
Next time, we're pulling back the curtain on AI's promises and pitfalls. We'll examine eye-opening predictions from both AI optimists and skeptics, explore why decades-old limitations still persist, and reveal some startling examples of machine hallucinations in deep learning networks.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.
Remember, the future of healthcare is being shaped right now. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. We'll see you next time.